I really love how I chose like such like a conservative, like studious looking outfit today to talk about the hottest books that I've read so far this year. Not that I would be on here just like letting it all out, but I just find it kind of ironic that I really am just like channeling, I don't know, like a little Blair Waldorf-esque today, just with the headband. To be honest, my hair is just like not doing it for me today. So I'm like, let's just throw that in there to distract from it a bit. And let's go ahead and talk about the hottest books that I've read this year, because you know what? I've read a lot of good ones. And honestly, I know that the Goodreads Choice Awards is the thing, the Amazon Choice Awards or the thing. This is my new thing now. I'm just going to dub these as the hottest books that I've read this year. It's a great list if you're looking for something really spicy. So some of these here, let me clarify here. I have no novellas on this list because here's the thing. I kind of think like when I'm going into a novella, that's kind of what like they tend to be. It's just like a spicy quick time. But all of these are full length ones that just, they deliver. They deliver on the mark and they deserve to be applauded for it. So let me go ahead and pull up my list. I think I have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books that I have dubbed the hottest books that I've read this year. So let's go ahead and jump in. They aren't in any particular order. They're more just like I went through all the books that I read and picked them out. So they are going to be in reading order, but there's no sense of order in terms of like hottest to not as hot because they all deliver. So first up, let's talk about Stitches by Sam Mariano. So this one is an MFM menage romance. This one follows Moira, Sebastian, and Griff. So Moira and Sebastian are actually married, and Griff and Sebastian are best friends and business partners, and they have grown up together. They have gone through a lot of stuff in their lives together, and they have these successful businesses. Sebastian is in his like great marriage with Moira, and Griff, he is married, but he does not really like his wife, and they're actually like he's wanting to leave her and such, and his wife is just a piece of work, let me tell you. However, she does maybe pick up on something, and that is that Griff also wants Moira. And when that want becomes too much for Griff to the point where he is ready to kind of say goodbye to his best friends and say goodbye to his businesses and kind of take a step back from both the business and his personal relationships, Sebastian is like, I can't let you go. Like, I can't let you leave. You are my best friend. We have been through everything together. Like, I won't let you do this. And he's like, and if it means that you'll stick around, I'll share my wife with you. And Griff is like, we can't do this. How are we supposed to do that? And even Moira at first is like, I love my husband. I would never cheat on my husband. And Sebastian's like, but what if I'm telling you to? What if I'm okay with it? What if we make this whole arrangement happen? And it ends up being the three of their romances. First of all, just love the premise of it, of these best friends being married and then the other best friend like getting pulled into the mix. I actually really believed in Moira and Sebastian's marriage as well as Moira's relationship with Griff. Like both of those relationships felt solid to me, as well as Griff and Sebastian's relationship. Now, those two never like get together. However, you know, the three of them as a whole enjoy themselves. So anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. There's also some fun plot stuff that comes into the mix because obviously they're very powerful in business and people try to take them down. It's great. And I definitely recommend it. Next up, okay, all of the books that I've read in this series could count, but I just wanted to highlight my favorite of the series, which is The Lawyer by Marnie Mann. So this one is the first book in the Dalton Brothers series. However, they're all standalone, so you could jump into the other ones if you want. I've read the first three, love the first three, would stand by that actually all three could belong on this list. But The Lawyer is my favorite, and this one follows Kendall and Dominic. So Kendall and Dominic, one night they're out at a club, they're strangers, but they end up seeing each other, they end up having a one-night stand, a really great time, you know, whatever, and they both go their separate ways. I think they were out in Vegas, and then they were both returned back to their normal lives, and Kendall is actually the assistant to her famous sister, and her sister is like a reality TV show star or whatever, and Kendall shows up to a meeting with some of her sister's team, and who happens to be her sister's entertainment lawyer but Dominic, and he immediately is like, he kind of sees Kendall's potential and how even like her sister, who she does not get along with, does not have a good relationship with, and how her sister kind of knows that Kendall could be doing more than what she's doing right now working for her. They're trying to keep her down, and Dominic is like, I could help make you like a star if you want that, you know, if you want to like join this reality TV show. He's like, you know, I could really help you in your career if that's something that you're interested in, but I don't date clients. So she kind of has to decide, like, which do I want more? Do I want this, like, new career? Do I want Dominic? But obviously he's gonna break his rule because that's just what he does. And it ends up being their romance. Let me tell you, this book is just fun. I love the premise of it. It's just very, like, lighthearted. It's a little, like, dramatic in places, but truly it's just hot at its core. These two are always going at it with each other, and it's great. It's fun. I listened to the audiobook for these. I love the audios. I actually think that they are really good audios. Granted, that's coming from someone who doesn't listen to a lot, but I thoroughly enjoyed it reading it that way. And also, this is great for a slump. If you're in a slump, it's so fast paced too. And just like I said, very entertaining. The perfect if you're in a slump as well. Next up, we got a pretty forbidden one on this list, and that is Power by Cassandra Robbins. So this one and Rule, I almost put that one on here too, but again, I'm trying to like limit the ones that I pick from series, but both of these two that are out in this series so far are insanely hot. But Power is book one. You don't have to read them in order though again, but this one follows Jet and Raven, and it is a mom's fiance, obviously age gap taboo romance. So Raven, she ends up moving back in with her mother. She's going to school, I think, and she and her mom just have never had a good relationship. They've never been close. However, she's found herself having to live back under her roof, and it is there that then she ends up meeting her mom's fiance. And immediately she is like, he's a lot younger than my mom, and he's pretty hot. Well, not like a lot younger, but like younger. And he's really hot, and he's very rich, and he's very powerful. And Jet, as soon as he sees his fiance's daughter, he's like, oh, I want her. And the relationship between him and the mom is like not it, okay? They're like, it's more of like a kind of status, like publicity, kind of like, not an arrangement, but it kind of is a little bit more of an arrangement. So he does not really have any love for this woman at all. So he doesn't really feel bad about it when he starts going after Raven. And let me tell you, there's like no angst. They don't deny it at all. They don't really care. They just kind of throw caution to the wind. Like, yeah, they're also not trying to get caught, but they're not like that concerned about it. So again, really good if you need to bust a slump, because it is quick, it's fast paced, it's so hot between the two of them. Jet's really great. I love Jet. And obviously you got like the sneaking around that kind of like helps lend to, I feel like, some of the like fun of the book. So anyways, it's just a great time. I don't really know what else to say about it, to be honest, because that's just kind of what it is. Next up, another series where all three of these books I stand by, that I honestly think these are the three hottest books that I have read this year. However, I just wanted to include one because I've already talked about the series before, but the Alchemy series by Elodie Hart. Insane. But Unfurled, the first book, is my favorite, and in my personal opinion, I think this one's the hottest. And this one follows Belle and Rafe. So Belle is in her early 20s, and she's back living at home. She just got a job at an art museum, and she's starting to like really get into the thick of her career. And she has just always been a good girl. Her family is very religious, and she went to like all girls school. She has just, you know, she has really dealt a lot with that like Catholic guilt and shame about exploring anything that she maybe has wanted to over the course of her life. But now she's in her early 20s, and she's like, I'm kind of sick of living by these rules. I want to like get out there and explore myself. However, I don't really want to just do that with like a random person. And she ends up finding out about this club, the Alchemy Club, and they have this program there called Unfurl that people can sign up for, where they can explore exactly what they want to explore with safe people in a safe environment, and only do things that they are interested in doing. So she signs up for this program, and guess who owns the club that she signs up for? Her hot neighbor, Rafe, who she actually originally asked him about like helping her out, and he was like, no, I can't do that, because he's like, I can't do that to like you being very inexperienced. Like, I'm not about like, I can't do that to you, because like I don't want you to get your feelings involved, you know? And he's trying to be like a good guy. He's older than her, and he's trying to keep himself at bay. But then when he finds out that Belle applies, he's like, well, I'm running her program, because I'm not going to let any of these other people that I work with do that. And it ends up being their romance. It's just insane. So obviously Alchemy is a spicy club. So once again, you got like that at the center of it, but truly just seeing like Belle kind of, you know, just explore everything that she wants to explore, and especially dealing with some of the religious stuff that she has pressed deep down inside of her. Let me tell you, it's great. It's great. This is my favorite one in the series. All three of them, though, are so fun and so good. And just Elodie Hart's writing is beautiful, but let me tell you, some of that stuff is insane. Next up, Tell Me What You Want by Lucia Franco. Obviously, if there is one thing that Lucia knows how to do, it's how to write some insanely hot shit. And that is Vanessa and Reed. So this one is a brother's best friend romance and a little bit of an age gap. I think it's like only 10 years or less even. So Vanessa, she's in her early 20s and she's an influencer and she's really close with her brother. They have like kind of drifted apart a little bit in recent years, but both of their parents passed away in an accident years ago. So they kind of only have each other as their only family to rely on. And they have a couple of properties, and she normally goes up to their family cabin on the weekends to shoot some other content there because she is a cam girl, and she goes up there to shoot content. And one day when she arrives there, she obviously does not tell her brother about this because he would like freak out. So she goes up there and there's a man in their cabin and she's like, who the hell is this? And that turns out to be Reed, who is her brother's best friend. And her brother is letting him stay there, but obviously she can't like tell him that she knows that because she's not supposed to be there. So anyways, it's like all secretive. And Reed is there because he just got out of prison and he's needing a place to stay. So her brother offered that up to him. And Vanessa always had a crush on Reed growing up. However, there was one day where he just like up and left and she kind of had no clue where he went and she didn't know that he went to prison and that's where he has been. They immediately just, are attracted to each other. Reed, he has not been with someone because he's been in prison and he has always also had a little bit of a thing for Vanessa, but he's never crossed those lines and he's scared to cross those lines because of everything that his best friend and her brother is kind of doing for him to help him out. But they just can't help but being attracted to each other. And Vanessa is not afraid of going after what she wants, and what she wants is Reed, and she's not going to stop until he just, just gives in to her. It's so good. It's so good. I love the book itself, but also, like I said, if you know anything about Lucia's books, you just know that you're in for a great time. Next up, you want to talk about the other person who always delivers. QB, The Worst Kept Secret by QB Tyler. This is her newest release. This one just came out at the beginning of this month, and it's my favorite that she released this year. I love Avery and Theo. Theo is potentially it's now kind of shifted a little bit. I do think recency bias has something to do with it because like James just will forever and always be my favorite QB hero. However, Theo, he's kind of stolen it a little bit from James. But anyways, so this is a best friend's dad, age gap, neighbor romance. So Theo and his two kids moved in next door to Avery's family years and years ago. And Avery has been best friends then with his son. And his son has always kind of had feelings for Avery, but Avery has never reciprocated. She's never had feelings for him that way, and she's made that clear to him. However, he still just kind of carries a little bit of a torch for Avery. But Avery has graduated college, and so when this book starts, she is getting ready to move back home and work at her family's business, and Theo is still living next door. She really wants Theo. She's just very attracted to him. She's always had a thing for him, and they actually did end up having a bit of a dalliance years ago that never really went anywhere. But Avery wants a repeat, and she's not going to stop until she gets Theo to just give in to what he really wants, because she knows that he wants her too. He just can't. He's like, I can't do that to my son. You're younger than me. I can't do that to like my friends who are like her parents. She's like, we can't cross this line. But of course, they're going to cross it anyways. And like, thank God that they do, because it's for our enjoyment. Okay. And this was so great. I love a lot of the side characters in this one. And let me just tell you, Theo's just so hot. I don't know what else to say. And yeah, some of the Ferris wheel in here. How creative. How creative. I loved it. Okay, the last two on this list are also the two that I'm going to say that you should check any triggers for. Obviously, any of these books you should be like looking up triggers for. None of them are like particularly dark or anything. I mean, Unfurl definitely has a lot of like religious stuff in there, so check triggers for that one. I think the other ones are all like fairly tame in terms of that. However, these last two, they are by far the most, specific with some of their things in it and some of the most wild and out of pocket stuff. But oh my God, did I love it. And so what's up first? Carnage by Chantal Tessier. Because here's the thing, this was actually my most recent read that I finished, and I just really was in the mood for some out of pocket shit. And who do I go to for that? Chantal Tessier. Okay, let me tell you, Sabotage, The Ritual, again, some of the hottest books I've ever read. And Carnage is no different, but let me tell you, some of the stuff in here made some of the other ones look like child's play. So this one follows Ashton and Saint, and it is the 5th book in the Lord series. However, they are standalone, so you could jump into this one. So I've read 2 of the other books in the series, Sabotage and The Ritual. I am behind on the other 2, and I will say maybe I think it would have given me a richer experience had I read those other ones, but there was nothing in here that I couldn't follow along to. It's more just like some other characters that pop up here and there that it's like, oh, I know you, or I know you, or I know you, and kind of like a general understanding a little bit of the Lords. However, with this one, Carnage, it is like where the Lords are sent to basically suffer and be tortured. So like the Lords is this giant organization of all of these really powerful men and these powerful families who kind of like run things. And Carnage is where they send a lord if they have like betrayed anyone or any of their enemies that they like death is too easy for them. They need to like send them to go be tortured. That's where they send them, is to Carnage. And Saint is going to be one of the, what is it called? The Spade Brothers. The Spade Brothers. So it's basically like if your fathers are them, then you're like automatically going to be a Spade Brother and like run Carnage one day. And that is Saint and a couple of his friends. So that's just kind of like a little bit of the background info. You obviously get that in the book, but I feel like that just kind of lays the foundation for, I guess, my explanation for the book. So Saint knows that he's going to be a lord, he's going to be a Spade Brother, and he's going to run Carnage one day. And when you are a lord, you are granted a lady. And after like your 3 years of celibacy and training that you go through in order to be a lord, that's kind of like your prize, is you're given a lady. And Ashton is the daughter of one of the other Spade Brothers. So okay, let me just say, throw any feminism out the window. Okay, just hear me out here. And so she basically, like, women in this world, you know, the daughters are just raised to basically be given as ladies to these men when they're older. So Ashton has always known that. She's always known that that's going to be her place. But she has also always had a crush on Saint, who is her brother's best friend. And she has wanted Saint. Like, she just knows that that's who she wants to be given to. And Saint also wants Ashton, and he's willing to do what he needs to in order to make that happen. And I'll kind of leave it there. It does turn into a revenge romance. The 2 of these, okay, truly Saint is like feral over Ashton, like feral. Obviously he loves his friends and he's willing to let his friends join in on the fun, but only if he can still be in control of the entire situation. And Ashton loves his friends as well and is more than willing with his friends. And you know, it's some wild shit. If you just read anything by Chantal Tessier, you just know what you're getting into with this. And if you haven't read anything by her, then you are just truly in for a trip. But I would definitely say heed triggers, because it's messed up. Saint isn't a nice guy, but he does love Ashton. And last but not least, Losers Part 2. So technically, it's hard to like talk about anything plot-wise with this, because obviously it's part 2 of a duet and it's following all of the same characters from the first one, but I had to include it because truly, again, it belongs on this list, let me tell you. And honestly, this entire duet, like part 1 is just as hot as part 2. So this one follows Jessica, Manson, Vincent, Lucas, and Jason. So it's a poly relationship. The 4 guys definitely have a big found family aspect, and then Jessica kind of gets brought into the mix there, and she's with all of them. All of them are with each other. It's great. We love it. So basically kind of the premise of the Losers duet as a whole is that Jessica was a really popular girl back in high school, and the 4 guys were all the losers. They were outcasts. They were bullied. They were picked on, and Jessica was a part of that. But she did always kind of have a little bit of a thing for Manson, who's kind of like the leader of them all. And, you know, one night at a Halloween party that takes place during a novella called The Dare, Manson is just ready to kind of push Jessica's buttons to finally get her to give in to the desires that she wants and not just be who everyone in town expects her to be. And they end up playing a game of Truth or Dare. She ends up losing, and she has to kind of do whatever he says for the night. They have a great night together. She kind of like unlocks something inside of herself. And then when we get into Losers Part 1, she has kind of closed back off from that, pulled back, and tried to again just be like that perfect kind of image of a girl that everyone thinks that she should be, and that she even thinks a part of herself should be. But the guys are not as willing to just like let that night go. And when she ends up getting in some trouble with her car and with some of their stuff, like getting involved in some stuff that some of the other people in the town do to them, as in order for her to get her car fixed and to kind of make up for some of the damage that was done to the guys, she ends up making a bit of a deal with them that they get to kind of use her however they see fit. and she will in turn like get her car fixed and stuff. And it really is a bet that it's more like it's not really like they would have fixed her car, but like they know what she really wants, and that kind of like for her to, or in order for her to justify it to herself, she kind of needs like an incentive, and that it's not like, oh, like I don't actually want this, even though she does. She's like, it's only because you're fixing my car, but like it's also because she wants to be there and she wants to be with them. Anyways, that's kind of the premise of the first book. There's some cliffhanger stuff with the people in town and with Manson's dad coming back to harass them that leave off in book 1 that then you immediately pick up in book 2. Book 2 is my personal favorite out of the duet. It definitely gets a lot more into like the emotional bonds between the characters and like really making you feel the love that they all have for each other, and that truly like everyone loves each other equally in this situation, which I think is really hard to do with 5 characters, but like Harley LaRue did it so beautifully. And also it's just like so hot. But like I said, definitely heed all of the like triggers that Harley LaRue puts in here at the start of the book, because there's a lot of stuff, y'all. There's a lot of stuff. But if you're up for it, it's a wild ride. So anyways, those are my books that I would say are the hottest books that I've read this year. They would get my award. Now, who's to say that I don't still read something by the end of the year that couldn't be joined on this list? But maybe I'll start doing this like, you know, every year. I hope that you enjoyed this video today. On Friday, I'm going to have a book haul going up. And then next week, it's already Chat, Chill, and Get Ready with me for November time, TBR time, and then it'll be wrap up right after that in the following week. So it kind of feels good. I got these scheduled out a little bit. I kind of got a bit of a handle on what I'm doing here. But anyways, that is it for today's video, and I will see you when I see ya.